Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second episode of Together with a Higher Purpose. This is a series of interviews with couples who dedicated their life and their marriage or relationships to adding value to society through selfless service. I have this great pleasure today of hosting Monika and Nemanja Nedic, who not just that have a, like core core roles in all our Mohanji platforms in various teams, wearing all hats possible, but also they're great friends of mine. Nemanja and Monika, welcome and thank you very much for sharing few hours today, considering it's Sunday and it's Eastern here in Serbia, so I'm very grateful that you agreed to join me today. Welcome.
Thank you, Sanya, for a beautiful introduction, and it's our pleasure to be here today and to change some things about our relationship and actually how Mohanji made everything possible.
Thank you, Sanya.
Thank you guys, and I'm really grateful that you agreed to be our guest today, because usually people are having all kind of misconception, regards marriage, relationships, and actually having time to adding value to society, because most of us are really busy. Either we are taking care about our full-time jobs, about our children. Even you guys adopted recently 2 cats, and that can be time consuming as well. So usually people think, oh, if I want to add value to society, to do something useful for my community or for this world, I need to have lots of time, or maybe I wouldn't have time to have a boyfriend or a husband. And actually you guys are a perfect example that all those things are possible in one relationship. So I'm really excited that you will share today something regards how everything started for you. But first of all, because some of people who might be watching this and not know you personally, would you mind maybe telling us a little bit about yourself, about your professional background? And Monika, since you were the first one meeting Mohanji, maybe you can also share how everything started with you, and then Nemanja can share as well how he met you, and then Mohanji as well.
Thank you, Sanya, so much. I will try to be short because it's a pretty long story, but just a few key points. I graduated from Faculty of Sports and Physical Education in Novi Sad, Serbia. And I had a career in fitness and sports, and I was working with people and helping them not only to become more fit and slim and to look good for the beach, but actually what inspired me the most is when I see the inner transformation in those people, when I see how happy they are, and when I see that they live more stable and peaceful life, stressful and less stressful life. So when I saw that huge transformation in people, that was my biggest inspiration. And a few years after, I met yoga. And I started practicing regularly yoga. Then after a few years, I also finished the course from Himalayan School of Traditional Yoga. And yoga is definitely my path, and not only my job, but also my sadhana or my spiritual practice. And yoga is definitely changing my life and also changing the lives of other people, because yoga is not only a physical exercise, it also works on mental, emotional level. So to come back to all those years, when I was working, I was also searching for something more. I was searching for deeper meaning of everything. I wanted to understand life and why are certain things happening, and I always wanted to know more about the energy, the aura, and I started reading so many books, but all those books gave me only partial answers until I met Mohanji in 2015. When I met him, actually first saw his videos on YouTube, and I was watching his videos for hours and hours and hours. And I just had that instant connection with Mohanji, and I felt that finally I could have all those answers to all my questions, even without asking. So then the first retreat came and the second retreat, and it cannot simply be put in words, because when I saw Mohanji for the first time, it was like, he is like love who is walking, you know, so he showered us with love and with his grace, and the huge inner transformation happened. Before, I was a person who had many, let's say, problems in life, like everybody has some problems, but actually what changed is that now my attitude towards life situation is completely different, and my priorities are different. It's not about me being in the first place, but it's about putting the world as your priority, serving the world and adding value to society. So to make long story short, I started volunteering in 2016 because I saw that the group of volunteers is like one family, and they are all helping, contributing in their own ways. And I just wanted to help as much as I can. So I started volunteering, and in 2017, I was blessed by Mohanji to become the president of Mohanji Serbia Association, and I'm still the president of Mohanji Serbia Foundation, working with amazing teams who are purpose-oriented. And also I'm in many other teams, such as Spanish, Latin American teams. Since I speak Spanish, I also wanted to use my knowledge of Spanish language to spread Mohanji's mission of non-violence in other languages. And I'm also working in a few other teams of Mohanji Foundation, and also helping in Humanitarian ACT Foundation. So that is briefly about me.
That's really amazing, because I remember when I met you a few years ago, you had a career in fitness, and I know that I remember that all of us would ask you, you know, for some advice regards fitness, or when you started yoga, because you were so good at it, and also you were teaching people, conducting classes of Spanish, and you were planning to move from Serbia, and you didn't have opportunity to start relationship or anything. So we'll come to that, but it's very, very exciting to see how all of our plans are just changed, you know, since you met Mohanji, and you were the one who experienced such a deep transformation within you. And what about you, Nemanja? Because I met you also a few years ago. All three of us actually met in the same dancing school, and that was our first contact. And after that, I could first see Monika at meditation sessions. And then after some time, I started seeing you there as well. Would you mind sharing with us something regards your professional background, and after that, maybe how you met Monika?
Yes, thank you, Sanya. So my professional background is software engineer. So I'm creating online products for different companies. And I started working 10 years ago, and now I'm on a position where I'm leading teams that are creating some very nice products for different companies. Currently, I'm working for a US-based company, and it's real pleasure to work on such a great thing, and that's still my full-time job, and I really enjoy doing that. So as you said, we met on the same dancing class, and started going out to parties, etc., meetings, and Monika and I started dating from one of the parties that we went together. After that, I met Mohanji through Monika, which was something totally new for me. And it was, I needed some time to actually get to understand what does it mean, and to understand to who is Mohanji, and what his teachings are about. So yeah, as I said, after some time I started going to meditation. I saw a huge benefit for me from these meditations, and then came my first retreat, and I saw great people there that are volunteering, and it was natural for me to help out and try to help as much as I can. So my on personal level, I love photography as my hobby, and I get a chance to actually apply that knowledge as a volunteer in the Mohanji. And currently, I'm mostly involved in photography, audio, video, etc.
Yes, actually, thanks to you, Nemanja, I believe like lots of our videos, lots of our programs are recorded properly. So we are all very, very grateful to you, but to Monika as well, because she's the one, she's the one who brought you to our team. So I'm very grateful to Monika as well. And now thinking about that time, it's very, very interesting, right? Because when you guys met, it's not like you had some, serious plan, because here at Balkan, I think that's some usual plan for all of us young people, right? To finish our school, university, maybe master's degree, or for some people, PhD, to become successful, then to meet the one, and to just get married, have children, and then they lived happily ever after. But that's actually, if I remember well, neither, like, both of you didn't have this plan. You met, you fall in love, but that wasn't something that you actually planned, and you didn't even dream of your relationship will become this powerful platform to actually serve and help people all around the world. And this is very, very inspiring. So Nemanja, when you actually started dating Monika, how that look like? Because, okay, we all know Monika. She's beautiful, she's smart, she's an amazing yoga teacher. But did you even have a clue how many hours she's actually spending on volunteering activities, conducting all those programs for personal development, helping all kinds of vulnerable groups around the globe? What did you know about those things? And what did you think about that?
So when we started dating, I knew nothing about it, very little. I heard about some meditations, some retreats, etc. But when we actually started living together, about less than a year after we started dating, then I realized the depth of what she's doing and what the Mohanji platforms are doing. So it was a slow learning process for me, getting to know each part of that aspect of adding value to society. So, started with going to meditations, attending some programs, and then finally, going to retreat as one of the highlights, I would say. And yeah, the rest is history. So it was really interesting for me. I knew nothing about Mohanji, and it was really nice to learn a lot about him and his teachings from Monika, and it was quite refreshing view on life and world, and lots of practical things that I learned in that period. It really helped me a lot in my daily job, in my life, etc. Yeah.
Yes, I think I remember one workshop that you guys, I think you even organized it in your own apartment for some of us who were in charge of various teams, and it was about leadership and handling people. And I remember like lots of us ladies were very surprised, like, okay, Nemanja, IT guy, how come he's so wise and calm and have these amazing people skills? And I remember asking you, oh my God, I wasn't aware that you know all those things. Even though I always knew you were smart, but you actually had lots of people skills and how to lead people. And I remember you telling me that you actually learned a lot about those things just observing Mohanji.
Yeah, definitely. So that's really what I learned in my job, and some of these things, you know, from some workshops that are held by different coaches that are specific to team leading and in corporate environment. So applying that knowledge to volunteering and also learning on how you know, how Mohanji sees people interaction and people skills, and blending those together were the result of that workshop that we had. And I think you know, it's one thing to learn some skills, but when you have chance to apply it for benefit of others, it's really, you know, something on the whole another level.
Yes, I agree with you completely on this. Monika, I would like just, you know, to go back to the start of your relationship with Nemanja, because you were always mindful about food, health, wellness, well-being, and but even with you, you started changing some of your habits. For instance, you quit eating meat with time. How your consciousness were changing, and I don't have a feeling that it was, you know, such a hard work for you to implement those changes. But I'm very curious to hear, how did you feel when you started dating Nemanja and you guys started going to various restaurants and even preparing dinner or lunch for each other? How did you feel about dating someone who had completely different lifestyle and eating habits?
That's a very interesting question. Yes, so I started the vegetarian and later vegan diet totally spontaneously, and I had no doubts after reading Mohanji's book Power Purity a long time ago, because I never liked meat anyway, and I don't want to support violence by buying meat and eating meat. So eating plant-based diets was something totally natural for me, and I felt amazing. I had more energy, better sleep, my skin got improved, and overall it felt totally natural for me. And of course we don't have right to force anybody to do what we think is right. So we have no rights, but we can only just live by example and show by our example. So the same happened with Nemanja. I didn't force him anything from the beginning. I just told my view that I don't want to support any violence, and I don't want my body to be burial ground for dead animals and meat. And I just told him honestly, and I said, if you have a desire to eat meat, I mean, that's your call, and I don't have any expectations, but please understand that I won't cook any meat and I won't buy any meat. If that is okay for you, we can continue living normally. And of course he understood and he agreed. But the most important thing when you're in a relationship is that the other understands, so we can understand each other and support each other and allow the other to be natural, to be who you are. Because Mohanji always emphasizes on that. We should not have any expectations, and we should respect and love first ourselves, and then love and respect each others. And we can only live by example. So that's why I also like Mohanji, because he will never tell you should do something. So he will always show you the way, and but he will never tell you that you must do something. So it's always up to you, up to your free will. So that's what I do also with my friends and with Nemanja, and I'm just living my own life and giving examples, so others may choose if they want to follow or not. So definitely something that I did not force. And one very nice thing is actually, it's a different topic, but when I was speaking to Mohanji in 2016, I didn't plan any relationship, or I actually didn't want to get married or something like that. That was not in my plan. But actually, whose plan is that? I thought it's my plan or me planning something. But actually realize when you're deeply connected to a master, then you are completely taken care of. Master will take care of you, and he knows what is best for you. So actually, he told me in 2016, before I met Nemanja, he told me very directly, you need someone who is nice and kind and whom you can trust, like you trust me. And in that moment, I thought, wonderful, but how can I find? I mean, it's
raising expectation.
Amazing. It's amazing to hear that, but you know, everybody wants a man who is nice and kind and supportive, but how can I find it? But actually, Mohanji made it possible. So I can openly and directly say that our marriage and our story is all with grace of Mohanji. And I have no doubts, it's all Mohanji's grace. Whatever is happening and how we are supporting each other, growing, maturing in this relationship and doing all the selfless work together, it's all possible only through Mohanji's grace.
Yes, it's very you explained it very beautifully, and now you just made me thinking about that, like how we all want for us a nice, kind person, and actually even Mohanji spoke about various patterns that we are, you know, having from all our previous lives, and not just previous life. We can even take, you know, example of this life that we have, and I feel like that for most of us, one of the greatest things that we can experience that are changing is with Mohanji and shifting in our consciousness level, shifting in our awareness and changing our frequency. We are actually, let's say, we are cutting all those, you know, connections with our previous patterns and beliefs that we are not maybe worth of love. Because like if you asked me like a few years ago, I would tell you, if you ask me, do you want to have like a nice person, you know, who could love you? I would say yes. But then if you ask me to dig deeper, do you think you deserve, you know, a person who is nice, loving, kind, and who will love you and be here for you? And like Mohanji is always there for us. I wouldn't be so sure. But as I look at you and this great transformation that we can all see in your life, because your life is a true example, I think that what Mohanji did with all his grace is actually he shifted your vibration level and actually Nemanja's, and he actually made it possible for you guys to connect. Because if it wasn't for him, I don't know if you guys would have maybe 1 year, you know, amazing, you know, going out, salsa parties, hanging out, and then Monika will maybe say, okay, you know, now I can move on, you know, move to Spain or whatever, or maybe Nemanja would be too busy with his IT career. But just the mere fact that you started observing people around you and not just thinking about yourself and your selfish needs, but actually what can you do more for the society, more for your community and the whole world, you started changing and your relationship started changing. Actually, your relationship was possible because of that. And that is just a pure miracle. I think that only people who has this grace to be connected with a great master can really understand what does it mean.
Exactly, beautifully said, Sanya. So it does not mean that you have to be in marriage to serve the world. No, we are all different, and our paths and our karmas are totally different. So definitely marriage was something that we needed to experience in this lifetime. Yes, so and it was only possible through his grace. But as Mohanji says in one of his videos on marriage, So usually common marriages are based on expectations from one from another, and usually when people become very selfish and have a lot of expectations, then it all just drops. But when there is a higher purpose in marriage or in togetherness, it doesn't have to be necessarily marriage. When there is a higher purpose, then it's a meaningful relationship. So that is exactly what we can see in our relationships. We are supporting each other. So exactly like two puzzles, you know. So we are living together, but at the same time we are supporting each other. So it's not about me as an Acharya that I'm higher than Nemanja. So there is no higher or lower. I'm not higher than him. I'm just helping him in one way, and he's helping me in other way, and we are growing together slowly in that way. And the more we are oriented outside, I mean towards others and helping people, animals, actually the more our heart expands. So it's not about me being oriented to him all the time or him to me, but actually when we are oriented outside to the world outside, we also got more connected to each other. That is a true connection, in my opinion.
Yes, and I'm so happy that you mentioned being an Acharya, because I'm sure that lots of people, you know, are very curious and maybe just even imagining, you know, how you know, what does it mean, you know, to be married to someone who is Acharya. And I think like in Balkan, like we didn't even know, I think we didn't even heard about the word Acharya. We were like, okay, what does it mean? Okay, because we were curious about so many things because of Mohanji, and only because we experience those things that he's teaching in our practical way, because we experienced all those things that he are speaking about in our life. So before Monika, before you even decided to travel to India, I think you traveled there for a few times now. Did you guys even how did happen, you know, in our relationship, that you came to Nemanja and said, well, you know what, I think I want to dedicate my life, you know, to become an Acharya, and that's like not just a full-time job, that's actually a, you know, completely different lifestyle. It's not like, you know, 9 to 5, you know, now I'm being Acharya, you know, I just put some nice clothes and conduct some nice programs. It's actually being all day long, you're serving and adding value to society. Did you guys discuss, you know, what does it mean for your relationship, and are you ready for that? And did you have that conversation, and how you, Nemanja, felt about this?
It was very interesting. You know, first of all, when she mentioned Acharya, I, of course, first needed to understand what does it mean. And basically it means, you know, living the teachings and you know, just showing by your life, you know, as example of those teachings. And at that moment, for me, it was very straightforward, because it was just, you know, next level in Monika's life, and she wanted this, and to me it was really lovely and really nice to you know, to dedicate a whole life to serving others. That's really, you know, something. And for me it was beautiful, and I fully supported her in that decision. And it's something that's you know, really nice, and you know, it was so good to, you know, to all those teachings that we heard from Mohanji, that we read from books, etc. So we can actually put to practice, and to actually show others you know, as an example how to live. And it for me it was just like next step in Monika's life.
Monika, were you hesitating actually mentioning to Nemanja, you know what, I want to become a Mohanji Acharya, So now it's not just going to be only volunteering, it's actually going to be my life, and you are a part of my life, and how everything is going to fit in.
No, actually, I didn't have any doubts because I knew my path, and I knew how strong my connection with Mohanji is, and I didn't have any doubts since the beginning. I felt it's like my life calling, let's say, and I felt it in my heart. And I think it's always important to listen to our heart, what our hearts and what our intuition said. So I had no doubts from the beginning. And by that time, when I decided to apply to be an Acharya, we already both got connected to Mohanji deeply, and Nemanja also experienced grace of Mohanji, and how loving he is, and how he's always there for the world, and how he's constantly giving to the world, and how he's traveling tirelessly just to help people. And Mohanji is a true inspiration by living his own life to both of us. So by that time, Nemanja had the experience to really see what does it mean to be connected to Mohanji, and what does it mean just to be part of this powerful platform. So of course I told him, and we didn't have any thought that it may harm our relationship, that since that moment we won't have time for each other. No, we did not have that feeling. We both agreed on that, and we realized that it's something just that's going to bring us a level higher, both of us, not me only, but also him. And actually we were very happy to, as Nemanja said, to take the next step and to become an Acharya. It's a life commitment, it's a lifestyle. It's like you said, not just conducting one program, but actually living those teachings and being the representative of Mohanji and his teachings in the world. And actually, when I look back now, already more than two years have passed. Actually, we are even stronger now. So we are empowered. We are both empowered. So it did not harm our relationship at all. It just strengthened our relationship. So it's a beautiful experience, and it's just a matter of priorities and good organization. So I think if you organize your day, your week, your month, if you make plans, and if you have a clear vision, then you will have the energy to do all of that. And if you set priorities, and you can really organize your day to have time for everything, for your family, for your pets, for traveling, but it's just a matter of attitude. So you have that attitude of serving. Even if when you go to the supermarket to buy things, you have that attitude. So it's all about your attitude, and from the inside, not only from outside.
I'm so glad that you mentioned all those practical things, because I heard some people questioning when we were speaking about Mohanji's core values of his teachings, like unconditional love, compassion, always adding value to society, and the matter of attitude, selfless attitude that you mentioned. And usually when we think about relationships, and I think we all experience this, jealousy, ownership, expectations, at least, maybe at the beginning of our dating, when we started having our first relationships. And everything that you're mentioning today, guys, is something completely different. And I'm sure this didn't come to you in one day. So you needed to build this. So how did Mohanji's teachings helped you in a practical way to be today who you are, to be able, as you said, like from early morning, because now we are in the middle of the COVID, so I know that both of you are working from home and you're conducting programs, Monika, writing, recording, and Nemanja, he's doing all kind of things for his work, and at the same time he's helping you. And by helping you, he's serving Mohanji's mission. So what are those practical things? So what does Mohanji's core teachings mean to you in this practical term? Maybe you can give some basic examples.
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned going to shopping. So before you became vegan, I'm sure we were not thinking, okay, like checking labels and deciding, okay, if I'm going to serve this in my family as a lunch or not. This is just the one example, right?
Yeah, so from my experience, you need to give some time for all the teachings that you listen to actually settle in. And in my experience, for example, when I went from meat eater to vegan, it was a change of lifestyle that happened gradually. So it's not something that happened overnight, and it was so normal. I didn't even feel those changes and those transformations. So I think that's where going first of all to understanding and respecting all the beings. That's settled in, and then I started eating less meat and then become vegan. And then after that I understood that selfless service is something that gives me a lot of pleasure, and I really feel good when I'm able to help others. And then we started together to bring food to shelters, to animal shelters. So just that situation where you can bring and feed the helpless beings, it's really enjoying and fulfilling. So
yeah, I know that you even had this volunteering experience before, so it's not like this was the first time that you are into selfless service, but it was something completely different now, because you're actually you're dedicating time from your weekend to actually visit shelters and volunteering a lot together, right?
yeah, so my volunteering experience started way back when I was helping a local humanitarian fund that was actually giving scholarships to students that could not afford education. So I was one of those, and later I helped them, and after that we started alumni club where we basically get together and try to help others. So that's where I first experienced helping other. One of the first things where we actually found some computers to give to children that they don't have it and they need it for school. So that's like that's where it opened me to really experience the selfless service. But at the start, it was more like I'm giving some donations in money mostly, but then when you actually go somewhere and to actually meet person or animals that you are helping, that's completely different. That's really transforming and really fulfilling. You feel really good. It's just such a great thing to do. And yeah, we now regularly use our weekends to actually go to visit some of the shelters. So it's some things that gives us really joy, and we are happy that we can help.
And it's not just that you're doing volunteering here. I know that Monika, she organized several charity activities worldwide, even in India when she went for the Himalayan School of Traditional Yoga Teachers Training. And considering that usually when we think about relationships and marriage, people have this ownership. I mean, we are taught to think this way: like, this is your wife or this is your husband, you belong to each other, and it's like you own this person. But your relationship is an example that you can actually love each other and at the same time leave the space for this other person to serve the world as well. How is that possible? Did you guys have challenge when Monika needed to travel because she knows to stay for a while because of the mission and everything she does.
Yeah, at first time it was challenging, getting used to, being apart for a longer period of times. But again, it's all for higher purpose, and what she's doing is helping others. And by me being supportive of her, I'm basically also helping her to help others and helping those people as well. So that's where you cannot have ownership. It's toxic, really. And giving space to each others and support in decisions, that's really important in relationships.
Well, this is really nice to hear. And Monika, I know that lots of people are following even your YouTube channel, because you're doing so much for us who enjoy yoga, because you're actually combining things for people who are beginners, and then with some people, with some stuff for the people who are on a more advanced level. But usually people just enjoy those nice videos, but they don't have idea what's happening outside. They don't know how Nemanja is supporting you so we can enjoy these beautiful videos. And by the chance, I know some details and some stories. Would you mind maybe sharing with us some interesting details about whom we need to thank for those videos, actually? Because Monika is on the scene, but who is behind the scene, and what are the things he needs to do so we can actually practice yoga with you, Monika?
Yeah, I think Corona changed so many things. But as Mohanji says, we have to be flexible, and the solutions are always there. Of course, it was beautiful to conduct Acharya programs live when it was possible, and to meet people and to teach yoga live, and to talk to them, to hug them, so it was totally different flavor. But since the Corona started, and since many people are in lockdown in their houses, and it's not possible now to have larger gatherings, it's very difficult to travel. But at the same time, Mohanji says purpose first. So we needed to find a way to still spread Mohanji's teachings and to conduct programs and to help people, to reach people as much as possible. So of course, internet is one of the ways how we can do that. Of course, not the only solution. We also have to reach people who don't have access to internet. But internet, as we are now talking via Zoom, we have to definitely use all these platforms available. So that's how all those online programs started. Many Acharyas participated in them, and many volunteers, not only me, of course. But it's something totally different. But anyway, the energy has no boundaries. So the effect was there for all those people who attended. And there were so many beautiful videos and testimonials and programs and so many things. Even Mohanji did so many satsangs and programs online. So there's a lot of work behind the scene, of course. And one of those funny situations when you mentioned, since I'm doing a lot of yoga classes online, and one of them was when I was conducting live session yoga for one of the online platforms. There were so many people from all around the world, from different continents, different countries. Actually 400 people were watching, and I had no idea until it ended. I had no idea how many people are watching it at all, because you're in your room, you're doing yoga, and someone there is watching you. You have no idea how many people or who. But when you saw this comment when I saw all these comments in the end, my heart was so huge. Wow, so many people were watching and enjoying yoga and experienced yoga, and just the thought came to my mind. Wow, imagine all those people, even if they feel just 1% better, if they feel calm, and if they have stress relief, or, if they feel more balanced, my mission is done. My task for the day has been done, So Of course, when you mentioned work behind the scene, there's a lot of stage setup, mic setup, light setup. So many things that seem to be normal, but actually takes a lot of time and work behind the scenes. So one funny situation was that actually my mic stopped working in the middle of the session, and I was live. Although the mic was tested and it was good quality and everything, it just stopped working. And since I was doing yoga, and actually I saw Nemanja crawling, on the floor, and I'm live and I'm speaking and introducing Himalayan school of traditional yoga, and Nemanja is crawling on the floor, and at the same time you have to talk because you're live and Nemanja is crawling and you want to laugh and you don't know what is happening. So you don't know to laugh or to stay calm, and so it was totally crazy. But actually, he managed to change the microphone while he was on the floor and he was watching my live with his earphones. He was listening to. So actually, we made it all possible, but it was one of the most funniest situations we had when it comes to live sessions.
Yeah, this is not just the ordinary activity that every husband does.
Definitely not. Definitely.
This is really hilarious. And it's not that Nemanja is helping only you as his wife, of course, but it's also all of us other Acharyas. So it's almost 100 people all around the globe. And Nemanja is actually the person who has very special connection with all of us, and Nemanja, you are helping all of us with appropriate setting, and you did a training for all of us, and you're supporting us all the time. And I must say that few times I even thought, like, I feel like Nemanja is one of Acharyas as well, even though he's in IT world handling serious important projects, but he's also supporting our very important projects, because both things are very important. And sometimes I consider you as an Acharya as well. And I know about this event when Mohanji's Grace actually did something very special for you and for all of us. And would you mind sharing something about this? Because I think it's very interesting for people to hear.
Yeah, so back last year when first lockdown started, there was a need to actually bring all the programs online and live through Zoom, and now we are all experts in Zoom. But back then it was a few of us that were using that professionally. So given my background also that I was photographing on the in-person events, so I volunteered to actually help out all the Acharyas that started conducting online live events. And I didn't know, first I was approached and to ask for help for a few things, and then later it became regular. So before each live event, we get together online, and I talked through with each participant, how to set up background, how to set up lights, how to, on a technical perspective, how to for them how to look good for the program. So during those moments of preparation, you actually have a chance to speak to other persons, other Acharyas, and basically through the course of several months, I got to know almost all Acharyas because it was every week there was one or two live programs, and by those preparations, I really got to know each Acharya, and it was really special for me because at the moment I didn't understand that, but it was an opportunity for me to meet so much great people, and that's really something special. And when you said consider me as an Acharya, basically living with Acharya and helping others, you naturally you show those values by yourself, even in other situations. So that's where those, as I said before, like, you know, you give some time for those values to settle in you, and then you naturally express them in each your life situation.
And you also inspire other people to do the selfless work as well. So it's not only about us doing the selfless work, but actually when you live by example, you inspire others to give their best to help the world as much as we need, because the world is so self-oriented, you know, so everybody's having all those emotions, expectations, and being selfish and greedy, etc. But actually, when we just shift our attention and our priorities to the world outside and to all the people and animals outside who need help, everything changes. So actually, by doing our selfless work, visibly or invisibly, we, not only two of us, but all people who are doing the work, are inspiring others as well. So by sharing those posts of kindness, by sharing all those positive news, you will definitely touch somebody's life. So in this world, when there is so many negative information coming from media, television, etc., we need to spread more positivity. We need to spread more positive news. And as one of Mohanji's sentences is, quotes is, everybody can do something, so everybody can give something. It does not have to be necessarily financially, it does not have to be money as well. It can be a smile or help or love or sharing a skill, sharing your time. Everybody has something to give. So that's what is our purpose as well, to inspire others to change their lives, to transform their lives, to live more peacefully, more positively. So it's like the candlelight, you know. So if one candle gives fire to the other candle, their own light won't be less. It will shine. It will continue to shine. So it's actually spreading light all over.
Wow, this is beautifully explained. I really like this, comparing with the candlelight, and it's actually contagious. And what I learned from your example is, like, it's been almost a year since this global crisis started in the world. And I know that a lot of people actually, some of the people lost their job. Some of the people even lost their families and family members. Some of them divorced, you know, because they were too scared. They started you know, struggling, and they just couldn't make it. And I feel like with you, I think, and Nemanja, I mean, for Monika, that's her life choice. She chose to serve the world and to put the world on the first place. But for you, I could say that I learned on your example that your life and what you demonstrated in this previous year serve as an example how we can beat our fears, because lots of people started being worried about money, about losing jobs. And you know, you showed through your example that you actually started giving more than ever. So even though, and I'm sure you are just a human being as all of us, I'm sure that probably maybe you had some doubts, maybe some fears as well. But what you actually chose to do is to support Monika, and together with her to support all our Acharyas and our mission. And you actually, you know, you told those fears, I'm not going to be afraid of you. I'm actually going to give more than ever. And that's actually very inspiring for me. And I also had this question that I wanted to ask you. I'm sure that maybe sometimes were not so easy. Maybe you had even friends or maybe family who didn't understand your life choice completely. So do you maybe have some advice or to share some of your experiences for some people who are scared that they will not be accepted by their friends if they decide to concentrate more on selfless activities than just to hang out and, you know, continue doing what they were doing until now? So maybe you stopped seeing, because when you're completely concentrated to a higher purpose, as Monika said previously, you're constantly thinking how you want to organize self better so you can actually do more. And then it's impossible because we all have limited number of hours within a day. So we can't see all the people, we can't go to clubs every weekend or do some other activities that we did before. So how did you manage, balancing maybe some previous lifestyle and new lifestyle, and maybe comments from some of your friends? Did you have that kind of experience?
Definitely.
Maybe people teasing you, oh, now you married, to Monika, and then you stopped eating meat. Now is this volunteering thing? What are you doing, man?
Yeah, there's things just happen, and I don't really look at that as important things. And it's, you are evolving as a person, and you are adopting new values, and when the selfless service is the main thing that you value the most, it's just all other less important things just drop, and you're not really interested in that. So yeah, there were some comments, and there will probably be some more comments, but just ignore them. They're not giving any purpose. So we should live ourselves. So if we love to go to shelter to bring some food, we're going to do that more than okay, yeah, I should visit this or this person, or should hang out with these people, etc. So basically when you evolve, you just your habits change. Some things that you want to do more, you will do more, and things that you want to do less, you will naturally do less, and just follow your heart, and just be yourself, and do whatever feel it's the best. And of course there is you need to have some balance, of course, and when you plan, as Monika said, when you plan for your week and your days, so you can actually give time to people that you need to give time to. So that's for sure. But again, given that free time is limited, and then you really want to spend that time the best you can.
Exactly. So it's all about living our own truth. And as Mohanji says, we all have to be ourselves, and we have to be authentic, and we need to express ourselves. And one of the biggest fears usually that people have is the fear of what will other people think. But actually it does not matter, because when you're doing something great, when something is expanding your heart and helping others, actually those opinions don't even matter. So those friends who are supposed to stay with you, they will stay with you. Those who do not understand you will maybe drop off, but that is also fine. So we should not fear anything. We should just connect to ourselves and express ourselves and live our own truth in each moment.
Well, that's beautifully said. And I believe that you, as all other couples in the world, have your challenges. It's not like you're on this part and you are doing service for the world, so you don't fight. There is no time in life that you would have a fight or any kind of challenge. I'm sure this is not true, but I'm also sure that there is some change in how you approach to this kind of misunderstanding. So what would you say, what is, let's say, maybe advantage of couples who have in their life not just them as a partners, but they also have this higher purpose? What could be advantage in this kind of relationships?
Yeah, definitely awareness, because of course we are not enlightened and all of us still have minds, and we are living Mohanji's teachings, and definitely we all also have some periods when we are emotional, and when the various emotions are coming up to the surface, and that is fine. The worst thing we can do is suppress those emotions. So definitely we should not suppress, we should just be aware. So the main difference is when you are connected to Mohanji, when you live his teachings, you have the awareness. Oh, I can see that those emotions are now coming up to the surface. So you are aware of them, you're accepting, watching, witnessing, and letting go. So you're not holding on to these emotions. When you're oriented to purpose, you cannot hold on to emotions for a long time. For a short time, yes, but if you are aware, then worse things may not happen. So basically the awareness is the biggest difference when you're connected to the master. And of course, to have faith in the master. This is very, very important. So when you're in this path, you should have absolute conviction and commitment and faith in yourself, faith in the path, and faith in your guru or your master.
Oh, thank you so much, Monika. This was beautifully said. And if I sum up our whole conversation, I would take from Nemanja advice that we should always be open. And as he didn't follow, even though you had this beautiful lifestyle that's maybe a bit unique for our country, our culture, maybe comparing to India, where people are volunteering more, and maybe even in some parts of India, I heard that they're giving like 10% of their salaries, no matter of how much they earn, for other people who are in need. Even though you had this beautiful lifestyle, he was open and he didn't follow blindly. So he actually was able to experience in his own way what does it mean to give a chance to this lifestyle. And he had his own connection with Mohanji, and that was when he decided that he will find his way in this story as well. So this is something that I would definitely take from this story. And listening to you, Monika, I think, like, at least for me personally, one of the most beautiful thing was that actually, even though sometimes we have our idea of how we want to spend our life, how we want to use all our skills and talents, we have these fabulous plans about how we will travel maybe somewhere, what will be our profession, how we will spend our time. You were actually quite open, and you were able to hear what Mohanji said and to give Nemanja opportunity. And that was the reason why you guys actually ended up together, and you're building this relationship every single day. So I would like to thank you, because you were our guest today. We learned a lot from your example. And maybe for Anne, I would really like to hear from you if you have any kind of comment. I know that both of you avoid giving any kind of advice. I already know this, but maybe some comment to give for the end, for all the people who are in relationship, and maybe for people who would like to be in relationship serving higher purpose, but maybe they're scared there is no adequate partner, there is no way they will find someone who will cut eating meat and be able to support them in all their selfless activities. What would be that one thing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that's, as you said, being open, that's definitely a must-have, and really you need to give people a chance and to try, don't judge anyone, try to understand their point of view. That would definitely help.
Yeah, being non-judgmental at all time, and being aware and connecting to ourselves. That is the first and the most important step, to really connect to ourselves and to know ourselves first. because many couples and many people in relationships are oriented to that other person, and that other person is making mistakes, and that other person is treating me like this, like that. But actually, how are you treating yourself? So it's all about connecting to yourself first. So you need to know, you need to shake hands with yourself, as Mohanji says, and then you can actually connect to others. So connecting to ourselves first is our priority. We need to understand ourselves first to be able to understand the other person. So there are so many misconceptions about marriage, and even I heard some people talking that Mohanji is against marriage, which is absolutely not true. So Mohanji is not against anything. And even some misconceptions that, like, when you serve the mission, when you're volunteering in Mohanji platform, we become so busy that we don't have time for our family, and also that's not true. And we can confirm that from our experience, that with good organization, and when you set the priorities and timelines, you can have time for everything. So it's just another concept that we won't have time for anything else. So Mohanji is not forcing anything. He is just showing you the way, but it's totally up to you and to your free will whether you like to follow him or not. And the third thing, of course, take your time to connect. Not every person can connect instantly, like it was the case with me. Some people will need more time, and that is perfectly fine. Everybody should take their time, try and feel. And when you find your master, stick to that master, stick to it, stay there. And then it's very important to have faith and to stay on the path no matter what happens. We are blessed to have a beautiful family all over the world. We are living in Serbia. In Serbia, there is a huge family. And of course, not only Serbia, but Balkans, Europe, all around the world, we have friends and family. And I truly believe this is our true family. So not only your blood relations, but also people who are there, who accept you as you are, who do not judge you, who treat you like a friend, like a mother, like a sister, like a father, like, you know. So wherever you go, you have friends, you have true friends and family that will stay with you and support you in your good days, in your bad days, in your good moods, in your bad moods. So that's truly a blessing. So, and I'm sure that all this wouldn't be possible without Mohanji's grace. When you're serving the world, when you're helping the others, there is also that grace factor. So the grace starts flowing. So everything that we talked about, again, my deepest gratitude to Mohanji, who made everything possible, who opened the doors for us to be able to serve, who actually connected us, and who gave us all these precious tools and techniques and inspiration. It all wouldn't be possible without Mohanji. So our deepest gratitude to Mohanji. And may we all serve the world selflessly. May we all be inspired to help the helpless and to treat all beings equally. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so
much
much.
for the beautiful interview.
Thank you, Monika and Nemanja. This was really inspiring, not just for me, but for the 100 people who will watch this, I'm sure. This was really uplifting. And I think that your relationship, your marriage, and everything you do, not just within our spiritual family, but all around the world, is a perfect example that everything is possible if you have a higher awareness and clarity how you want to live your life, not just for yourself, but the whole world as well. Thank you very much. And I hope that everyone watching this will be inspired and contemplate on topic of relationships with higher purpose. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Nemanja. Thank you, Sanya, so much.